Senator Kalware.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minister, this is the first time I'm interacting with you since we last met before you were appointed. Congratulations. This meeting presents you an opportunity, Minister, to clarify to the country whether, after the emerging issues, especially in the jurisdiction in the United States of America, you can still trust Adani with those 4 projects. Minister, Kenyans are waiting to see whether you are the parent who will, upon receiving information that somebody has a track record of raping children, you would still hire that person to take care of your children in your home. My second and last question, Minister, is I think you are yet to forget your good old days in the office of the Chairman of Public Accounts. In view of the seriousness of the reasons for the indictment of Adani in the US, do you think the due diligence that was conducted and validated him requires to be audited or requires to be reconsidered? Minister, in view of the fact that one of the findings there has been that the guy has a track record of bribing his way into winning projects. Thank you, Minister.
If I can just respond.
The last one.
The last one, then you can answer the 3, and then maybe after that, maybe CS we can agree with members when to continue with this meeting.
Thank you. Chair, mine is one is a question and then another one is a comment. Chair, I wanted to find out, to clear the air, because this Adani issue has been there everywhere because of the airport issue also and the digital superhighway. I want that the CS to avail to the committee the due diligence report for the 3 or 4 companies that initiated the BIP, so that this thing will clear and it will basically sort out all these issues. Second, Chair, is because of the CS had requested that he wanted to leave early. We wanted him to tell us. I think he's also not listening. I wanted him to tell us, because we have like 15 minutes to noon. If he's still going to leave at noon, then maybe we need to agree, we give him ample time, so that when he comes next, either here or in a retreat, we exhaust all these issues. We also get to know what is happening in the rest of the country, so that we don't just focus on this particular issue.
Thank you.
Sorry, Chairman, a quick one.
And then, Chair, if that will be the reason, then we will not then continue, so that we give him enough time to prepare, because including what happened today, we've seen from New York, so that so that he stops here.
I was saying
a quick one, please.
A very quick one. I am very sympathetic, let me say this, with the effort that has been made. I've said it before and I'm saying it again. The effort to try and solve the problem of distribution network. The effort that Ketraco has done, and the government, and the fact that you have somebody now to deal with these matters. Questions there and all those issues, but I am 100% happy that we have somebody on the table. The question, Minister, that I wanted you to look at, and I didn't like the way you answered. When, Mheshimiwa, you say that we shall proceed with this irrespective of what is happening, I think, and knowing that the due diligence was done before, it is dated, wouldn't it be a good idea for you to say, given the developments, I would undertake as government to write to find out whether they have the capacity to still continue with the project. Why? Because contracts in law can be frustrated by what is called force majeure or act of God. So you need to tell us that as a responsible minister, I'm going to write. You don't tell us we will go on irrespective. I don't think that is the way we want to move this country. Mr. Speaker, Chairman, I submit.
Let me just clarify.
Thank you very much.
Allow me,
Yes, please.
And thank you, Chair. Really, I would really want, together with my team, to get some more ample time in the future, the shortest possible time from now, possibly a retreat, to have a full day for us to discuss all these issues. But I'm very, very happy with the questions and indeed some of the comments that have come from the membership of the committee. They are very, very objective. And let me just start by saying that first and foremost, in the transmission master plan developed by Ketraco, we have got about 90 transmission lines. Adani Energy Solutions has only proposed to construct 4 of those 90 lines. That is one first thing I have to say. 2, I want to say that the due diligence I am talking about was undertaken in 2 phases on Adani Energy Solutions. Okay? Adani Energy Solutions. I understand there are other branches of Adani that deal with other aspects of infrastructure development. But I'll come back to that later. Let me just go back to the question by Honorable Sifuna. And I agree with Honorable Sifuna, because the principles set out in the Constitution are very clear, are very, very clear in Article 227, and in fact, even in the Public Finance Management Act of 2015. Okay? But I want to say this, that what we have done so far is fully in compliance with the provisions of not only the Public Procurement, Public-Private Partnership Act, but also in full compliance with the provisions of the Constitution. And, Honorable Chair, the question has been asked about the matter of transparency of this particular method of PIP, and very legitimately so. Honorable Chair, when you go to section 37, subsection 1 of the PPP Act, you will find the various methods, in fact there are 4 methods, of public procurement under this Act. And that is direct procurement, privately initiated proposal, competitive bidding, restricted bidding. And the Act goes at great length in highlighting conditions and circumstances which would dictate the application of one method or another. Okay? And therefore, Honorable Chair, it is indeed true that the particular method in this case, that is the PIP, the public privately initiated proposal, in our view, and indeed, upon the receipt of this proposal from Adani, we were able to assure ourselves that the proposal met the threshold set out in section 40, subsection 2A. And it's very clear if you read the Act, Honorable Chair. We need to satisfy ourselves that is this in line with the priorities of the country, does it meet the infrastructural plan, and so on and so forth. So there is no doubt whatsoever in our minds as a ministry, and indeed government, that in the circumstances that we found ourselves, given the serious constraints we have in our transmission infrastructure, this proposal by Adani Energy Solutions passed the test. But let me also hasten to add, Honorable Chair, because Honorable Sifuna, again, rightly so, asked about at what point do we disclose this to the public. The matter of public participation has been well canvassed through and through in courts and elsewhere. Public participation under Article 10, sub-Article 2, and Article, I think, 201. Okay? Principles of public finance also has element of public participation, in addition to principles and values of governance under Article 10, sub-Article 2. Honorable Chair, the Act as it is currently, in fact, doesn't even expressly provide for public participation. But we went out of our way as government, conscious of the high demand of the Constitution and case law as now established, especially under in British American Tobacco versus CS Health. And we undertook very, very elaborate and comprehensive public participation. I remember and there's a report. We have a report on purpose which we can share with the committee at an opportune moment. I remember upon my swearing in as Cabinet Secretary, I actually did participate in one of those public participation events, personally, where there were all shades of opinion, Honorable Chair, well before the execution of the project agreement on the 9th of September. We shall be more than willing to share with the committee all these reports. And finally, Honorable Chair, is the issue of the due diligence report that has been asked for by the Honorable Vice Chair. And I agree with him. We are going to avail to provide to the committee these due diligence reports. And let me also conclude by saying, one of the reasons why actually government resorts to PPP, apart from the issue of money that we shall get from the private sector, is the matter of risk. This model of public procurement actually transfers most, if not all, the risk to the proponent. And therefore, even if there are those fears, based on the reports that are emerging from the media and elsewhere, we have got no worry whatsoever from where we sit. That even if in the event that something untoward were to happen, including vitiation of a contract by as that of force majeure, there would be no risk on the part of the government. Okay, the way this thing is structured that most of the risks, if not all, are to the proponent, and that's why they're able to, of course, invest their money and with the hope of getting back their investments in a period of 30 years or so. I would want to ask Honorable Chair, with utmost humility and tremendous respect, if you could then allow us to conclude at this stage, and then, of course, with the idea that we can come back at the earliest possible time, when we have got enough time the whole day, and delve into many other issues, so that we can also deal with the issue which is scheduled at 2:30. There's some input I need to make. Honorable Chair, if you indulge us.
Thank you very much indeed. There are many questions I personally could have wanted to ask, but I'm also looking at the time. I can see members have already want to put a supplementary question.
Chair, it's not a supplementary question.
Yes.
I want you as the chairperson to be very clear on the documentation that needs to be submitted on this deal.
Yes.
These long stories of the Wajir Mandera transmission lines, that is not why we are here. We want the date, the proposal itself, how it was received from Adani, how it was processed, when it was forwarded to the public procurement or the private public partnership directorate, how it was handled, minutes of those committee meetings, the agreement itself. We will read for ourselves what the agreement says. I was looking at you very suspiciously when you are saying that there will be no consequence of a termination of a contract. As a lawyer, I know for a fact, Waziri, you are lying. So what we will require is to read these things for ourselves.
Agreed with you, Senator.
So
agreed with you.
All those documents.
Let's ask for the documentation. But I also think it would also be fair for the Kenyans to know what is it that the ministry is planning to do. It is not just about Adani. And as you do that, I would also wish to request that maybe these counties will be listed. Now that you know the cost, why don't you get another person instead of waiting until for so many years, we can start implementing them, because we know that the Kenyan balance sheet cannot be able to support anything. And maybe the way to go to pacify our colleagues in other region is also to get now people who can get this other implemented. As you do that, maybe as legislature, we need to look at what gaps should be filled so that we can legislate on that one. But also on the information that comes to the people. At what point? The public participation, we did not get to hear about it. Waziri must also admit that I'm one of those keen Kenyans who follow issues up. And I would wish that moving forward, as we now do these things, that you also inform us, because we are people's representatives, so that now the public participation can only not be seen to have been, how do you put it? It is not only done, but it is seen to have been done. Members.
Just briefly, Chair, before you move further. I think it will also be important, and I really would like to beseech you, my good friend, that let us not act as if we're the only visitors in Jerusalem. We're not oblivious of what is happening. We're in the issue of Adani. I think it will be important for you to at least go slow. You know, it is good for us to get in and defend everything we are doing, but it's also good for us to realize that when we sit here, we are the ombudspersons of the citizens. And what we're hearing out there is not good. So instead of rushing in, suppliers actually also, in terms of the documentation, in your page 4 of your submissions, you indicated that there was public participation carried out. Give us a report on that. The chair has just told you he's not aware of any public participation. We, in this Committee of Energy, are not aware of any public participation. So I think it is important.
Senator Ledama, I'm very surprised that Wandayi would go to an important public participation and not even carry his SG along, as I was there. I mean, on such an important project. How did he find out about this public participation? These are questions I want answered.
As we conclude, Senator Ledama,
so there is no SG for protest. Yeah. So my good friend, my good friend, in the spirit of full disclosure, because we also know that we do not have enough money to be able to fund this using taxpayers' money. However, in the spirit of full disclosure, provide us with all the contracts, okay? Provide us with all the due diligence report, provide us with minutes, public participation, and clarify whether you contracted an independent body to go out and carry out due diligence, not Ketraco members. We are being told Adani has bribed people, and we live in this country, and let's just call a spade for whatever it is worth. People get bribed, you know. So let's submit those documents, and then we can be able to share with the public, and the public will judge us.
Thank you, members. As I let the friend of the committee introduce himself so that we can let the CS, because we had promised, and it's good we keep our part of the bargain, we had promised that we're going to release him by 12 o'clock, and that's why they came very early. Introduce yourself, make a comment, a friend of the committee, and then we let the CS.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Cherargei Kiprotich is my name, Senator of the Republic of Kenya, Vice Chairperson of County Public Accounts Committee, and Senator from Nandi. I think, Chair, the issue of Adani is national interest matter, now that is cross-cutting from energy to roads. And Chair, as the CS leaves, there is an indictment from US Justice Department where they are accusing Adani Gautami of massive fraud. And it happened even in Switzerland where his money has been frozen, Chair. So in future, when the CS, my brother Opiyo Wandayi, he should go slow on this issue of Adani. It doesn't look good. It is untidy for the country. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, CS.
Before we rise,
yes,
just to again clarify that as we speak, we have got a court order stopping further progress of this particular project proposal. So as we speak, it's in court. Of course, we are fighting to have the order lifted, Honorable Chair.
Bwana CS, had you said that? Bwana CS, had you said that before we could not even have discussed that, because we are quite wary of matters sub judice, and at times the boundary is very slim. But let's take at that point. We will get back to you. We'll write to you what we need from your side, and then we suggest members, if you agree, that even before we go for our recess, that we sit on this matter, because I think it's a matter that is really quite weighty. And I see the CS and the PS, they have quite a lot of information, not only about Adani, but what we are doing holistically about the power and the energy sector. And I think as we handle this thing of Adani, let's at times also give Kenyans hope that there is a lot more we are doing than just the bad Adani thing or the good Adani thing, whichever it falls, that we are planning a lot for them. And I had members just say about their counties, and I thank Sifuna that he said he's nationalistic, he's not going to ask about Nairobi. And Senator, very good, we would encourage that mentality. We would encourage that mentality, but we must also look at how are we trying to address the issues that are facing the Kenyans and wherever they are, whether it's one Kenyan or many Kenyans. And I think we should give the ministry time enough to explain themselves as we address these side issues. So if you allow this, Bonasias, our secretary will get in touch with your ministry so that we can agree on an appropriate time where we would have ample time so that we can go into the details of this. Members of press, thank you very much for taking your time and covering this. Waziri, thank you very much for appearing, and we'll be looking forward to engaging you in the next 1 week or so. Thank you very much, members. I think members, we sit a few minutes as we let the CS go, or maybe we can adjourn this meeting because we're also going to prepare ourselves. Okay, the minutes is adjourned. There being no other business, the minute is adjourned.
No, we said adjourned.
So you protect the investment. I had to shut down my factory because I did not have power. What we need of the demand for power is so much. What we need several redundant